Hello students, how are you all? Hope you are staying at home and staying well. Today in this video we will know about soil. This is chapter 9 of your science book. So what is soil? Soil is the topmost layer of the earth crust. If you want to define soil, it is a dark brown color solid material that is a mixture of rock particles of different sizes and dead and decaying organisms or plants, that is the humus. Now, soil contains air, soil contains different minerals, water and numerous microorganisms. Soil is the home of different animals such as moles, rodents, worms, and soil is very much essential for the life because it is one of the most important natural resources. The trees, the plants all grow in the soil. We need soil for our own existence. Next is how this soil is formed. Soil is formed by the action of wind, water and sunlight on big rocks. This process is called weathering. The weathering is a process by which the big rock are broken down into small particles by the action of wind, water and sunlight. Now, in the soil we know that humus is also there. So, what is humus? Humus is the dead and decaying organisms or plants, whatever dead and decaying, and that mixes with the soil, and that is called the humus. Now, this humus contains nitrogen, phosphorus, and these are very much important for the growth of the plant. Now, we will know about the different layers of the soil. If we make a vertical section of the soil, then that is called the soil profile. If we see the soil profile, then we can divide it into three parts. Each layer of the soil is called horizon, such as A horizon, B horizon and C horizon. A horizon is called topsoil, B is called subsoil and C is called substratum. Now we will know about these three horizons in details. The top layer of the soil is called the A horizon. It is rich in humus, so it is dark in color. It can hold a lot of water as well as air. It is the home of all the organisms which live inside the soil, that is the moles, earthworms, even all the roots of the plant penetrate in the topsoil. Topsoil is very fertile. Next is B horizon, that is the subsoil. Subsoil is lighter in color because of the absence or very less amount of humus. Here only the roots of the big old trees can be seen in the subsoil. Now in subsoil it is very compact and it is very hard, means it is not that porous, because here the air particles are less and it is not as fertile as the topsoil. Now the last one is the substratum or the C horizon. C horizon comprises of the partially weathered rocks, means the rocks which have not weathered or which have not completed completely into the soil. So they lack humus and no animals, the burrowing animals, no animals or the roots of the plants can be seen in the substratum. Now we will know about different types of soil. There are mainly three basic types of soil. These are sandy soil, clay soil, loamy soil. And now we will learn about these three soils and their composition and their property. Let's start with sandy soil. Sandy soil contains mainly sand having large particles with large spaces. It contains very less humus. Sandy soil is mainly found in desert area. Due to its large size with large spaces between them, it cannot hold much water and the water gets drained very quickly. It is very less fertile. The fertility of the sandy soil can be increased by adding humus to it. Humus will also increase the water holding capacity of the sandy soil and it will supply the necessary nutrients. Sandy soil cannot be used for making pots such as matkas or surahis, brick straws, etc. Now coming to clayey soil. Clayey soil contains mainly clay and they have very small particles with small spaces between them. It contains very little humus, and clay soil has a very good water holding capacity because it is very tightly packed because of its small size of the particles. Clay soil is heavier than the sandy soil because it can hold water, but the small size of the particle is also disadvantageous because it does not drain water very easily, and so it retains water and creates a water logging which damages the crop. Clay soil is more fertile than sandy soil, and the clay soil is very sticky, due to which clay soil is best for making the pots, bricks, toys and statues. Now let's come to loamy soil. Now this loamy soil is a mixture of sand, clay, silt and humus in right proportion. It is a mixture of large and small particles which impart the desirable properties. Now this loamy soil contains sufficient amount of humus. So loamy soil has all the necessary nutrients for the growth of plants. Loamy soil is the most fertile soil. It is the best for growing crops. So, on the basis of the size of the particles, we can conclude that if the soil contains greater proportion of big particles, then it is sandy soil. If the soil contains greater proportion of fine particles, then it is clay soil. If the soil contains about the same proportion of large and fine particles, then it is called loamy soil. Now, what is the difference between the sandy and clay soil? Now, sandy soil contains mainly the big particle, whereas clay soil contains fine rock particles. The water holding capacity of clay soil is much more than the sandy soil. Now sandy soil provides good aeration to the plant root, but clay soil is not able to trap enough air for the roots of the plant. Now sandy soil is loose, light and non-sticky, whereas clay soil is compact, heavy and sticky. Sandy soil is less fertile, whereas clay soil is comparatively more fertile. Now, different types of crop grow well in different types of soil. For example, in clay and loamy soil, these both are suitable for growing cereals like wheat and gram. And soil rich in clay and organic matter having a good capacity to retain water is ideal for growing paddy. Now, for growing lentil, that is all the pulses, the loamy soil is best. And now for growing crops such as cotton crops, the sandy loam soil, means loam along with sand is good for growing the cotton crops. Now let us know some of the important properties of soil. Soil contains water, soil contains air, soil can absorb water and soil allow water to percolate. Now let us know about them in details. Now let's begin with soil contain airs. If you take some soil in a container and if you add some water into it, then you will see some bubbles coming out from that soil. What is this? That means the bubbles are the air which is trapped inside the soil. Hence we can say soil contains water. Next is soil contain water. This also can be proved by doing a simple activity. What you need to do, you need to take some soil from the garden and you need to heat the soil in a burner and we need to close the lid. After some time, when we will open the lid, we will see on the lid, in the inner side of the lid, we will see some water droplets. So from where the water droplets are coming? These water droplets are actually the water present inside the soil. So in this way, we can prove that soil also contains water. Now we can calculate the amount of water, the percentage of water present in the soil. How? Let us do it with the numerical. 200 gram of soil is taken and dried completely in bright sunshine. The mass of the dried soil is found to be 170 gram. Calculate the percentage of water present in the given sample of the soil. Now in this case, you need to see the total mass is 200 gram and when we have dried it, then we have got it 170 gram. Now the amount of water present in it is 200 minus 170, that is equal to 30 gram. Now here the percentage of water is, how we can calculate? We have to divide the mass of the water which is present in the soil by the original mass into 100. Here in this way we will divide 30 by 200 into 100. We will get 30 by 2, that is equal to 15%, means 15% of water is present in the sample of the soil. Now soil can also absorb water. For this we need to perform a simple activity. We need to take some soil in a funnel and we have to wrap it in a filter paper. Now we will add water drop wise. First we will calculate the water in a cylinder and we will keep it aside, and now we will drop wise we will add the water in the soil. When we will see the water is coming out from the soil, that from the funnel, that means the capacity of the soil, means the capacity of the soil to take the water is saturated. That means in this way we can calculate the amount of water that can be absorbed by the soil. Here also we can do a simple numerical and we can find out the amount of water that can be absorbed by the soil. 100 ml of water was taken in a measuring cylinder. This water was added drop wise and 250 gram of dry soil kept on a filter paper in a funnel. When the water just started dripping from the soil in the funnel, the amount of water left in the measuring cylinder was 80 ml. Calculate the percentage of water absorbed by the soil. In this case, the initial volume of water is 100 ml and the final volume of water is 80 ml and the mass of the soil is 250 gram. Now formula is V1 minus V2 by M into 100. In this case 100 minus 80 by 250 into 100. In this way if we calculate it, we will get it equal to 8%. That means 8% of water is absorbed by this soil. Now soil also allows water to percolate. What is percolation? The process in which water passes down slowly through the soil. It is called percolation of water. Now this also you can do by a simple activity. What you need to do, take a pipe, a PVC pipe, and keep it, just fix it on the ground and slowly you add water. Means like if you're adding 500 ml or 40 ml 50 ml whatever water, then see how much time is required by the water to completely percolate inside the ground. Now we can also perform a simple activity or a simple numerical, and then we can find out the rate at which the water percolates. 200 ml of water takes 40 minutes to percolate completely in a particular soil. Calculate the percolation rate of the water in the soil. Now in this case the water is 200 ml and the time is 40 minutes. Now we need to find out the rate of percolation of the water in the soil. Now in order to find the rate of percolation of the soil, what we need to do, just we need to simply divide the volume of water by the time. So in this case we will get it is equal to 5 ml per minute, means in 1 minute 5 ml of water percolates in that type of soil. The top soil is very fertile and the removal of the top soil is known as erosion. Now the soil erosion can take place through winds and water. Now the soil erosion takes place basically in those places which are not densely covered by the vegetation. Now if the places are covered with vegetation, then the roots of those plants will hold the soil, as well as during rainfall the rain will not directly hit the soil and it will not flow or it will not wash away all the top soil along with the water. So vegetation in a particular place or in open ground is very much required to prevent the soil erosion. And soil erosion, if the top soil is removed, then basically we are losing the fertile soil and the production of the plants or the crops will decrease in those places. Now what causes soil erosion? The basic and one of the most important features, that is, or one of the most important thing which is responsible for soil erosion is deforestation. That means cutting down of trees. Again, if we cut down the trees, then the land will become barren, and if there are no trees, then there will be no roots and they will not hold the soil and the soil may blow with wind as well as water, and even the rainfall, direct hitting rainfall will wash away the top fertile soil. Now, what are the effects of soil erosion? The soil erosion can make a forest or a green area that can convert it into desert. It may even cause famine, because if the topsoil is washed away, then we are losing the fertile soil, and the crops will not grow properly, and we may see a shortage of food. And lastly, it may also cause flood. Now, why flood? Because due to soil erosion, the flood water takes away with a huge amount of soil, and that soil gets collected in the riverbed, and the depth of the river keep on decreasing. If the depth will decrease, then there will be overflow of water during the rainy season, that will cause flood. Now, how we can prevent soil erosion? We can prevent soil erosion by planting more trees and by avoiding deforestation or afforestation. Now, by afforestation means by planting more trees. One and only way by which we can eradicate or we can stop soil erosion is by planting trees, or by minimizing the cutting, or by decreasing the how many trees you are cutting, or deforestation. Okay. Now, next problem is soil pollution. Now, what is soil pollution? The soil pollution means the unwanted thing present in the soil. Now, how this what are the causes? See, whatever we do, we dump the household stuff or the household waste in the ground. That may include the plastics, irons, glass, and that will pollute the land. The degradable things like the tea leaves or vegetable or fruit peels, paper, these things are biodegradable, so they don't cause soil pollution. But like plastic, then iron or the metal things or the glass thing, they may cause soil pollution. Next is the industries or all the factories, they release a high amount of waste and they directly dump it in the ground, that also cause soil erosion. Next is acid rain. Acid rain, this also cause soil erosion by increasing the pH of the soil, and in turn it will destroy the plants. And excessive use of fertilizers, pesticides, they also pollute the land. Now, how we can prevent soil erosion? Soil erosion can be prevented by by minimizing the use of plastic things. Plastic is one of the biggest threat nowadays, and it causes severe land pollution because they are not biodegradable. So we should decrease the uses of plastic or the plastic packaged food. Now we should dump the things, or we should dump our household garbage in the municipality, that we should use a dustbin, we shouldn't dump here and there. Even the uses of, we should minimize the uses of fertilizers and pesticides. And the industries, there must be rules, they should follow the rules that they should not dump the goods anywhere, they should process it, then they should dump it. And different uses of different chemicals. So these are the things which pollute the soil. In this chapter, we have discussed what is soil, and we have discussed the different layers of soil, types of soil, and how much means the percolation, the water holding capacity. These things we have discussed in this chapter, as well as the problems such as soil erosion and soil pollution. Hope you have understood the chapter. If you have any queries, you can write it in the comment section. I am there to resolve your queries. Till then.